ladies and gentlemen. We finally have him in. He's very unique. I check out all his stories. He's a Giants writer, beat writer, very well known in all of the ESPN world. And if you're a Giant fan, you know him very, very well. We are now talking to ESPN NFL national Giants reporter Jordan Raanan. Jordan, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, fellas? Look at that, man. Look at that.
You. Sexy man.
Right there. Look at that. Yeah.
I know your kids.
Look how young that guy is. I'm all over that graphic. I'm young there, man. Look at those.
Look at that. And you got a beautiful wife. You got wonderful kids. Who's better than you, Jordan?
There we go.
And you're a Giants guy.
First of all, let me apologize for being late. I got caught up in the middle of a project with my son. We had to put together a collage.
There you go.
Pictures, so.
All right. That's school. School comes first.
Yeah.
Family comes first, but you're
here. We got to make sure he graduates first grade. Doesn't,
when I was in first grade, I thought, and I'm just there was like this glue thing. I had this problem. I love the smell of glue. And when I was in first grade, I tried to.
You were that kid.
I was one of those kids. Yeah, I was one of those kids. I like to play with glue and taste it and all that other stuff. Yeah.
I mean, the obvious joke is that it explains everything. I mean, that's too easy right there.
Well, at least I can admit it. All right, Jordan. Anyways, the Giants, I mean, there's a lot to get in with the New York Giants. I spoke a little bit about it before you came in. We're talking a little Jets and Giants. And, what's crazy is the biggest story right now is the Malik Nabers and Brian Daboll situation on the sidelines. And a lot of people, Daboll kind of played it off after the game. Malik Nabers, you could see he wasn't very happy. There was a lot behind the arguing on the sidelines. You have the inside scoop. What happened on the sidelines?
Yeah, I just think they were frustrated. They weren't doing anything offensively. They were successful. There wasn't a lot of energy going on. It kind of was I know guys were getting down, I think, a little quickly. And look, these things happen. I don't think it's that big a deal. I do see it being a little bit troubling that one quarter into the season, the frustration boiled. Really that quickly? And to me, it's more of a sign that, hey, this is a little bit of an extension of last year. It's like, oh my God, here we go again with the offense. So I think that's what it is. That concerns me more than the actual act of the two of them. They're fiery. Daboll, we've seen over the years, he flipped the tablet at Daniel Jones and argued with Wink Martindale and, is exploding left and right. Malik Nabers has not been shy. He said he's going to be open and honest. And when he sees something that he's going to, feel like he's going to do his best to correct it. So it's kind of what I expect from those guys. It does make me pause, though. Like, really? This is where we're at one quarter into the season?
It's very Jet-like, okay? It's not usually Giant-like. It's very Jet-like. I didn't see much of that with the New York Jets, but definitely that was surprising.
They're on the even ground these days. That's where they're at.
But the last time we've seen this before, Jordan, it was Tom Coughlin and Odell Beckham. And what happened to Tom Coughlin after that? He got fired. Well, he walked away, as Giant fans want to add that. But the Giants have never been as good with the Tom Coughlin era since then. So that's all I'm bringing up. The last time we've seen this happen was Odell Beckham, their superstar wide receiver, and their Hall of Fame coach. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, look, this is a different situation than that at the time. I think this is more both sides, whereas that time it was a little more one-sided, right? And with just Odell being so emotional. This is kind of both the coach and the player. But again, I think it's a fair point. If, something moving forward happens.
Is Daboll on the hot seat? Tom Coughlin was on the hot seat when that was going on. You have to believe that he's on the hot seat.
Tom Coughlin was on the hot seat for like 7
years.
I'm
just saying. He was on the hot seat, and Odell Beckham, your superstar, John Mara's behind his superstars. When you see something like that on the sidelines, that's not a good sign. Especially in the first quarter.
I think, look, they won 3 games last year. They have to win games. They can't, they're in year 4 of the regime here. They absolutely have to produce some sort of results. John Mara said that after last season. I think the quote was, we're going to have to see here it is. I have it right here. They're going to have to get better results, he's talking about, if we're going to move on to year 4. He actually meant year 5, but yeah. So they're going to have to get better results. You know what that means? Winning some games. That's what it's all about here.
So one unit that did a good job in trying to win the game was the defense. The front seven looked very good. A new look secondary. I thought there were some impressive young players in that secondary. Obviously bringing in Adebo and Holland as free agents. And then I thought some of the youngsters had a nice game. What were your impressions of the defense?
They were good, not great. Somewhere in between. Like there was definitely some things you could positives you could take from it. They let up 21 total points. They kept them in the game. They could get some pass rush. They had some splash plays. Maybe they were a little fortunate that Jaden Daniels didn't have his best day. There was some opportunities there that he didn't quite hit. But I think you could leave that game still feeling semi-confident that the Giants defense is going to be a good unit and definitely is the strength of the team. There's no doubt about that.
Guy that stands out to you that you think is going to have a breakout year on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, Brian Burns already got 2 sacks. And look, I know the easy answer there is Abdul Carter. Look, he's going to be a great player, even if you look at his reps. And I totally think that. But I also think that Brian Burns, he already has 2 sacks. He's sort of primed for a really big year. He's the best I've seen him looking so far this summer. Granted, he's only been here a little more over a year now. But I think, especially with those other guys there with him, he's primed for a really big year. I think, Brian Burns could end up having his best season yet, easy Pro Bowl type season. And for him, it's all about, he just needs to stay healthy, right? That was the thing last year. He was a good player last year. He was top 10 in the league in pass rush win rate, but he was also dinged up and he was just banged up constantly. He was playing through a lot of, he would barely be able to walk in the locker room after some of those games. And so you could really see him struggling. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to have a huge year for them.
We are talking to ESPN NFL Nation Giants reporter Jordan Raanan. Jordan, the offensive line was absolutely putrid. This was horrible. Andrew Thomas has been out. He can't stay healthy, but when he's playing, he's one of the best offensive tackles in football. The guy got a lot of money. And the guy still hasn't been on the field yet this season. You're hoping that he comes back soon. But when you look at guys like Runyon, you brought him in. He didn't play well. You have Michael Schmidt, a guy like him, a guy that they drafted in the second round. They thought he was the future center. He hasn't been good. You bring in Van Roden. We all know, Long Island native. He played for the Jets, played for the Packers. The guy stinks. I mean, practically every single player on this line. And then you bring in Jermaine. These guys, you bring them into free agency, they stink. They absolutely suck. And I'm not going to bet on Evan Neal, if you put him in the guard position, that he's going to save the world and save the New York Giants. This offensive line is terrible. And you could see it in their running game. Tracy couldn't run. They have no running game whatsoever. And they're going to bet on Russell Wilson. And you want to put Jaxson Dart in there? Giant fans are calling for Dart. He's going to get killed. He's going to be clotheslined with this offensive line. Your thoughts to the Giants' absolutely disgusting offensive line?
Yeah, it was a rough week 1 for the offensive line. I mean, that is certainly a fair take. It wasn't what you wanted. The problem is Andrew Thomas is injured. Right? He's coming back from a pretty serious injury. He needed Liz Frank surgery. And now he's the only guy on that line that you have that's a super high-end player, and that's when he's healthy, and he hasn't been healthy now for 2 straight years. So even when he comes back, I don't know if he's going to be the same player. I don't know if that's even realistic at this point. But you have this one guy who's a high-end player, and other guys that are average, slash below average players, and you put so much weight on the one guy who's coming back from a serious injury. It doesn't seem like the kind of bet that you would want to make. And that 100% is the concern with putting in Jaxson Dart. It's, do you want to put him in this situation? It's not an ideal situation for a young quarterback. Do you really want him to go in? Do you want him to go in and take hits? And I think that's the dilemma that the Giants are going to have here. It's going to be, well, is Brian Daboll or Joe Schoen, do they feel that much pressure that they feel they have to put Jaxson Dart in? Or do they say, hey, the right thing for us long-term, do they feel enough confidence and feel enough job security where they can do that? I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. But, they need Andrew Thomas. But they also need some of the guys there to play better. They need John Runyon Jr. to play better, right? He's proven he could play at a as a quality guard in this league. John Michael Schmidt needs to live up to the draft status that he had. He was a second-round pick. Greg Van Roten, he's a serviceable guy.
He stinks. Stop it. Stop selling us. We know you're
he
good.
Can be serviceable.
Oh, give me a break.
He can be serviceable. If he happened to be your fifth best lineman, you'd be fine.
I wipe my ass with Greg Van Roten. I put Jabba in a position. Jabba's never played offensive line. I'd rather him play.
Good? Is Jabba a good
I could
offensive
care
lineman?
less. All Jabba has to do is put his big body there. And, well, he doesn't have a big body anymore. He lost 36 pounds, but you know what I mean. I would put his big 6'3" frame there over Greg Van Roten. The guy stinks.
I played it in Pee Wee's.
Okay. That's a long time ago, buddy. I mean,
For sure.
The point is they need the guys there to play better because the reality is there's not like you said, there's nobody walking through the door, right? There's no hey, we have an all Pro Bowl offensive lineman walking through the door here. Like Evan Neal, I think that has kind of run its course, right? It is what it is. We're not really going anywhere there. And I mean, Marcus Bowe's a good young player, but he's a fifth-round pick. He's not going to just save the line and make you magically better. So, yeah. They're going to need these guys to play better to some degree. And look, I agree with you. It's not going to magically become a really good line. But they can be better than what they were the other day. And they obviously need that because otherwise everybody's going to be gone because that was hard to watch. It was a non-functioning offense, which is really – and this is the biggest problem about it. It was a continuation of last year and the year before that. So you're sitting there. Most teams, you play really crappy in week one, right? And you just be like, okay, it's week one. Let's see. We'll give them some time. They can get better. You know, we don't expect them to come in week one and be great right away. But with the Giants and the situation they're in offensively, you're just like, God darn it. Like, that was the same garbage we saw last year.
It was
where
worse.
They couldn't do anything. Now it's the same thing.
It was worse. It was worse. It was worse. It was embarrassing on national television.
They touchdown and they scored 6 points. So, yes, it was worse.
They scored 6 points because it was like Olay. The Commanders absolutely dominated defensively, but they were like, "Go ahead, run it in. We'll give you a touchdown. All right, we'll give you one."
They didn't even get it though.
I know.
They didn't even get the touchdown.
I know.
At least it wasn't 2023 where they lost like 41-3 or something to Dallas on opening day.
And don't give them credit. They scored 0 in that game. It was 40-0.
That was 40-0.
That's true.
All right, I want to move on to the running back usage because a lot of fans were excited about 𝐃𝐨𝐬𝐫𝐞 out of the draft. Tyrone Tracy obviously had some good moments last year as a rookie running back, and obviously they still have Devin Singletary there, but he's kind of been more of a pass-catching guy. Like, do you see this kind of thing being like more of a Tracy still backfield? Do you think 𝐃𝐨𝐬𝐫𝐞 emerges? If so, when? And like, what do you think the roles will be like for all these guys?
Yeah, this sounds like a super fantasy question here, right? And I'm all for fantasy.
I don't have any one of those guys, so it's not.
Yeah,
really.
I know, but that's what people like. That's what people want to know about them, right? That's why they want to know it. And I'm a big fantasy guy, so I totally understand, and I give people that information all the time because I know exactly this is what they're looking for. But yeah, I think it's slowly but surely, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see more 𝐃𝐨𝐬𝐫𝐞. He was injured, so he really didn't practice a lot in the month leading up to the regular season. But he's been healthy the last few weeks. I think we're going to see him get a little bit more involved each week. I still think it's Tyrone Tracy's show until it's not, until he proves he can't be the guy. But I do also expect 𝐃𝐨𝐬𝐫𝐞 to start getting a bigger role. I think a 70-30 split, or maybe like 60-20, and then Devin Singletary, throw him in there for like a 10%. Like, that's where it's headed. It's going to be primarily Tracy, but with 𝐃𝐨𝐬𝐫𝐞 sprinkled in there, third downs. You saw what he could do as a blocker there. He catches the ball really well. I think that's kind of where he'll make his mark as like a third down, passing down back for the most part this year.
Yeah, Jordan, you touched on Dart a little bit, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit, and we're, I think, kind of in agreement, but we're not. If and when they do, and like you said, it's how much trust do they have or faith in their job or whatever. If and when they do it, how many games do you think it'll take for them to either, I guess, put him in or be like, hey, we're just going to ride this out and see what Russ can do? We kind of, what was it, 5 games is kind of what we said?
I think 5 games, yeah.
To at least get him to that point and then
Well, that's my
Yeah.
over-under. I think 5 games. I
Well,
do.
game 5 is New Orleans. If you want like a soft landing spot, that would be it, right? That's the easiest. I mean, you can't have an easier game. I mean, I guess it could be home, but New Orleans.
It's okay.
New Orleans is the team. Yeah.
It's okay. We're facing Errol's favorite quarterback that week.
Yeah, he's not my favorite. He's definitely not. I want to choke him. That's what I want to do. I want to clothesline him. I can't stand him, Spencer Rattler.
But yeah, look, we're talking about Jaxson Dart here, and it'll be very difficult for them to be patient if things are going poorly. They would like to ride out Russ, I think, in an ideal world. They would like to win games with Russell Wilson as the quarterback and have him play well. But is he going to play well? Like, can he play to the level they need it? If he doesn't play well this week, do they panic? Do they want to come home, have Russell Wilson come for their home opener, have the fans sitting there, demoralized, upset, whatever it is? You tell me. Russell Wilson get booed if they play terrible and they come in 0-2 and the home opener against the Kansas City Chiefs on a Sunday night?
I don't want to see Russell Wilson, and I don't want to see Jaxson Dart because I like Jaxson Dart. He's going to get killed. The Giants, he is going to get killed.
So here's what I'll say.
It's
and
horrible.
I know the obvious, and you're like, okay, then they should put in Jameis Winston if it doesn't work with Russ,
I'd rather
right?
watch him play. At least we'll see him. What do they call him? What do they call them? The sombreros? Whatever you call them? The 3 amigos? I'd rather see one of the amigos.
One of them's cut now, though.
Yeah, well, I don't care. The 2 amigos. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jordan.
The thing is, you say,
Breaking
well, okay,
news.
and I know where you're going there. It makes sense just go to Jameis Winston if that's the case. Well, I think we're already past that point. Because by making Jaxson Dart the number 2 quarterback, the backup quarterback this past week, right? The Giants already said if Russell Wilson got hurt in the first quarter and he just stepped on somebody's foot, we felt good enough that we were going to throw Jaxson Dart into the game in the middle of a game for his first career game without really preparing, because the backup quarterback for the Giants doesn't really get any first team reps, gets like a handful, maybe at most, 1 or 2 probably, of live reps during the week with the first team offense. So they were already willing to throw him in that situation. You bet your butt they're going to throw him in there if they want to put in a starter, and it's not going to be Jameis Winston. I'd be really surprised if somehow they switched and said, hey, we're going to go start Jameis Winston, when, by the way, we would have put Jaxson Dart in the middle of a game if we had to for his first career appearance.
Jordan. The Giants organization is an absolute joke. You're going to put your franchise quarterback, which you moved up all the way into the first round to land. You have no offensive line. You have a pretty good defense. I mean, you have Abdul Carter, looks like he's going to be the real deal. You have Sexy Dexy. You have, obviously, Kayvon Thibodeau that actually played well. That's great. And you added secondary. That's wonderful. This team has no offensive line. And then you're going to sell me. The Giants are going to sell me right now that if Russell Wilson goes down, I'm going to put my future franchise quarterback in with this garbage? What are you trying to sell? This is the same New York Giant team with Joe Schoen on Hard Knocks to throw his running back under the bus, Saquon Barkley, who, by the way, goes to the Eagles, takes his money, and goes and rides, almost breaks the running back record, and wins a Super Bowl that year. Come on, man. This is a team that has not done the right thing, and you're not doing the right thing to Jaxson Dart, putting him in harm's way if somebody goes down.
What did you just say? You said this team doesn't do the right thing. So what do you think they're going to do? All of a sudden, they're going to do the right thing?
You know what? They're going
to do the wrong thing, and they're going to put them in there in a bad situation because they're worried about their jobs, because they were already brought back, and that's the situation they're in. And look, I might not think it's the right move. You might not think it's the right move, but this is the situation they're in. And I honestly, can you even begrudge them? They're trying to save their jobs in this situation. If they can't go 1-6 to start the season, right? Or 1-5, 1-4, even like the season will go off the rails. They can't afford that. They just went 3-14. This is the situation the Giants have put themselves in.
Hey, I got an idea. I got the perfect idea right now. Let's call Joe Schoen's son. That's what we should do. Let's ask him. Why don't we ask Joe Schoen's son what he should do? That guy, I'm sorry. I know you're right.
His son's the one who wanted
yes,
Jaden
Daniels.
So he the son might know what he's doing.
Yeah, well, I'd
He'll
rather
be their GM in 20 years.
If I was a Giant fan, that's what I'd do. I'd just go and ask, I'd go ask Joe Schoen's son.
He's a good high school quarterback.
I know. I heard. To me, if I know Giant fans want to sit here and we love. By the way, I love what you do with ESPN. You're a great writer. You're one of the best beat writers for the New York Giants, and I'm not trying to blow your head. I'm being serious. And when we knew we were going to get you on, I want to give you a little bit of props there and respect because of what you've done over the last couple of years for the New York Giants. The Giants are more successful than the New York Jets, as I am a Jet fan, and I do root the Eagles on too. But the fact is, when you're sitting here today, yes, I am an Eagle. I grew up a Donovan McNabb fan, so the Jets always suck, so I rooted for Donovan McNabb. So yeah, I root for the Eagles, even though I'm not one of those fans that are going to go out there.
It's a weird combination, though. You do know that, right?
Listen, I'm a weird person, bro. You got to listen to this show.
It is a weird combination.
Listen. I could throw a ball and hit it out of the park if I really want to. As Jabba, there's Jabba shaking his head. But the fact here is, if you're a Giant fan today, and we have a lot of Giant fans that listen to the show, you can't be excited or happy what this team is doing after game number 1. The only thing you could be excited for is Abdul Carter looks like the real deal, and you have you can argue, the best defensive lineman in all of football in Dexter Lawrence. Besides that, Malik Neighbors has regressed. I'm sorry. I know it's game 1, but are we going to trust? We've seen this before. We've seen this. Hakeem Nicks, wasn't he a high draft pick? How long did it take Hakeem Nicks to fall out of thought? Victor Cruz, I know he was an undrafted player.
Both of those guys are injury related. Actually, Odell was too.
Yes, he was.
Malik Neighbors, when he came into the league, he was injury related, was he not?
No, I'm just saying, unless something happens to Malik Neighbors, dude, he's going. I'm telling you, mark it down, write it down right now. Come back to me in 3 years. Unless something happens to Malik Neighbors health-wise, dude's going to be a stud receiver.
I'm not saying that he's not. I like Malik Neighbors. LSU.
He's really good. And look, he's going to need the right situation and the right quarterback, and they better hope it's Jaxson Dart. And if Jaxson Dart's any good, him and Malik Neighbors will light it up. I'm telling you.
We just got to hope that Greg Van Roten doesn't speak out about Jaxson Dart like he did about Zach Wilson.
Greg. Greg is Van Smelly. That guy just needs to shut his mouth. I mean, honestly, my shoes, I spray it with Lysol to take the stench away. I don't know if I can spray him with Lysol to get him away. That guy stinks like horse you-know-what. All the crap that those Eagle fans were eating on the side roads when they won the Super Bowl.
The stuff that scared away Kenyon Barter.
Kenyon Barter was on a show, and I told him he didn't even know they were eating horse crap.
Nope.
Okay, to honest to God, that's what Greg Roden is. He's a horse crap who shouldn't even be playing for the New York Giants. Just saying. All
right, I'll move on to Jaxson Dart himself. As a draft prospect, I kind of thought of him as a guy that was good at throwing on the run, intermediate throws, but still kind of raw with the shorter throws. What did you see throughout in training camp and the preseason from his growth and what the coaching staff has emphasized with him, even whenever he ends up starting?
You see a guy who has pretty good arm strength, and especially when he was in games, I thought in the preseason, watching him every day at practice, I thought he actually threw the ball he had a little extra zip on it in the preseason. But what you notice about Jaxson Dart when you start watching him every day, he's more mobile than you realize. Mm-hmm. And he's big and he's physical, and he's going to want to try to run you over, which, it's not always the greatest idea in the NFL. Like he tried to run over a linebacker in the preseason, and next thing you know, he's getting checked for a concussion, right? You probably want to avoid that in the NFL. It's one thing to try to run over linebackers in college. It's another thing to do in the NFL. But he's actually mobile, and you could tell he's pretty talented, and that's kind of what stood out to me. You run that the zone read type stuff, the multi option stuff with him, where he basically can hold it or throw it. Like that's the kind of offense I think you're going to see, right? And look, think about it for a second. Brian Daboll loved Jayden Daniels. So I think when all is said and done, the Giants would, if in an optimal world, like to run an offense like they run in Washington for Jayden Daniels. And that kind of fits. I don't think Jaxson Dart's as good an athlete. Obviously, Jayden Daniels was a top 2 pick, right? And there's a reason why he was a top 2 pick, and Dart was, 25th? Mm-hmm. But he does have some of that to him, a lot more athleticism, obviously, than a guy like Russell Wilson has at this point in his career.
Yeah, so as we've kind of covered everything, realistically, what do you think the number of wins for this team is going to be?
from the start was always at like 6. I know you watched that game the other day, and you're like, can they even get to 6? I mean, if they play the way they did offensively in that game, it doesn't get better. Yeah, I'll have to. It probably won't get to 6, but I think that's a good number, somewhere around there. Their schedule's tough. They'll win some games because their defense plays well and they do just enough offensively. Hit a big play here or there, but I think that's kind of what this team is. And there are avenues where they're significantly worse, which we saw the other day.
We're talking to a Giants beat writer. We are talking to ESPN, NFL Nation's Giants reporter, Jordan Raanan. I before we go,
wait, Errol, I need to know what's your win total prediction for the Giants?
Oh, actually, before game number 1, it could have went either way. I think the Giants win 6 games. That's where I think they are. I think they're a 6-win team. I think the problem is their offensive line. It's really bad, and. Yeah. I think that the team, I know everybody keeps talking about their running game, and they love 𝐷𝐵𝐽. Everybody loves him. When they had a chance to draft him, everybody was like, "Oh, I can't believe we got 𝐃𝐨𝐬𝐽 later in the rounds." Great. I don't know if the Giants really have a number 1 running back. I think they're all number 2s. And Devin Singletary, I mean, nobody wants the guy. I mean, let's be honest. What do they call him? Motor? What do they call him? Motor. Yeah, the only motor he has is the old one in his pants. That's about it. The fact here is, when I look at this team, they don't have a predominant number 1 running back. They have Malik Neighbors. They have a number 1 wide receiver. Who's their number 2? You going to bet on Hyatt? Or I know Robinson had a pretty good game, but are you going to trust that guy's going to stay healthy? And let's stop calling Darius Slayton the Odell Beckham of these times. He's not.
No, he's not. But he's their number 2 receiver. They paid him as a number 2.
Well, they're
the same as what Saquon
When you throw one pass in his direction, it's hard to do damage. He got one pass the other day. One.
That's because they know he stinks.
$12 million a year, one pass.
And they missed
I
the wide open
I don't think he stinks. I actually think he could be a quality player. He's not a great player, though. They have one great player on offense.
Yeah,
You're right.
Neighbors.
His neighbors. That's it. Malik Neighbors.
And that's scary. If you're a Giant fan, you got to scare. And if I was Jaxson Dart, am I going to want to walk into this flame and know that I'm going to burn? I'm going out there and I'm going to say, I'm going to save the New York Giants. That's when Eli Manning came, and if you remember, Kurt Warner they had a winning record, and that was Kurt Warner. This is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
They were 5-4.
Yes, and they had Michael Strahan, they had O.C. Umenyiora, they had some great players, great 𝐾𝐭. This was a good defense and just very talented. And they actually had a running game because they also had Tiki Barber. What the hell do they have here? There's nothing here that tells me, holy crap, this team scares me. The only thing I'm scared for is Daboll, because Daboll's going to be looking for a job. He's going to be on the shopping list. And Joe Schoen, let's be honest, his drafts are up and down. Everybody keeps saying, well, this is a pretty good draft class that he had. Really? If you look at these draft classes, what has really stood out to you in any of the draft classes? He drafted this kid, Theo Johnson. Have we really seen him break out yet? Malik Neighbors is a thing. Jaxson Dart, we have to find out what he is. Jalen Hyatt, he really hasn't been anything. Dexter Lawrence wasn't his guy. Brian Burns, he brought in free agency. Kayvon Thibodeau, you know what Evan Neal is. This has not been a draft. He's not been a good drafter. At least Joe Douglas, we could say the man drafts well. This guy hasn't done crap, and he decided to part ways with their best player in Saquon Barkley. Yes, I'm not a Giant fan, but I have some attitude. And if I was a Giant fan, I would do this to Joe Schoen. I would be the Hulk Hogan of Joe Schoen. I'd take him and bend him in all different, metal figures and throw him out. Guy stinks, all right? That's all I'm going to say about that.
After you do that to Spencer Rattler, because we know you want to do that first.
I'm sorry. I had to do that. As a Jet fan, oh, there he is. There's the idiot. There he is. I honestly, man, if I was a Giant fan, I wouldn't be happy with this organization. This is an organization.
Of course you're not going to be happy with the organization. They've been bad now for the better part of, 12 years.
I'm a Jet fan. It's been 15 for me.
I know. Jets fan is a tough lifetime.
Oh, thank you, Jordan. Fan. Thank you. Make it worse for me. Make me feel even worse about But guess what? I got a pretty good offensive line, buddy. That's a pretty good offensive
That's
line.
A start. That's a start.
Yeah,
see?
I'm just saying.
You're feeling good about your offensive line these days.
I'm feeling good about my coach.
The Giant fans are not.
I'm feeling good about my coach, Aaron Glenn. I'm taking him seriously. He's a Bill Parcells disciple. I love everything about Aaron Glenn, and I think that the Jets are moving in the right direction. We'll see what the quarterback is in the future. Is it Justin Fields, or do they go somewhere else in the draft? But you know what, Jordan, you're doing so much great work and for the Giants. I want to get you on probably, and Jabba would agree with me, probably towards the tail end of the season, not at the end of the season. We'll see where the Giants at, or maybe 10 games in. We'd love to get you on to see your thoughts. Let's do it. And maybe we'll talking about a different Giant team. Maybe we are.
Maybe. Well, you know what we'll be talking about? The Jaxson Dart era. That's what we're talking about.
How about let's talk about the Gremlin, Travis the Gremlin Hunter. Let's talk about that idiot, how bad he is. By the way, I told you, and you can book this. Remember this from the great one over here. I told everybody when the Jacksonville Jaguars moved up at number 2. There he is. I called him the Gremlin. He calls himself the Unicorn. I got my jersey all ready for him. I said this guy's not going to last more than 7 years in the NFL. He will not have an interception as a corner this year. He'll have maybe 3 touchdowns. He's not even going to break 700 yards. I'm going to tell you this right now. He is one of the biggest bust Heisman Trophy winners of all time. You can book it, sail away, like Christopher Cross said, as he sang it away when it goes all the way to the record books, as I was right about the one and only Gremlin himself.
Go. Hot takes galore.
There you go. It. Jordan, we love you.
All right, let's book it. I'll see you week 10.
Looks good. Sounds good. You're good. Keep riding, baby. We love
Appreciate it, fellas.
Jordan and Raanan. It's great. He's great. Everything's great. What a sale. Giant fans, did I sell you enough? You should love my takes about the New York Giants. Don't hate on me. I was just trying to help. How could you not like that interview? I gave a good interview. That was a good one.
I love the interview. I don't like your takes about the Giants.
They stink. There's nothing.
Doesn't mean I have to love it, even if it's correct.
Well, I was just being honest. I mean, if you're a Giant fan and you're going to bet on Scalabo.
Lie to me, Errol. Lie to me. Okay, tell me it's going to be all right.
Here's what the Giants should do. When Breece Hall becomes a free agent, that's who they should be jumping on.
They love doing. They love doing that. They love signing the ex-Jets players.
If I were the Giants in the offseason, if Breece Hall becomes available, which he probably will, that's who I go after if I'm the New York Giants.
Maybe they'll add on Elijah Vera Tucker too.
Just saying. Just saying. I'm helping you out, Giant fans. Think about it. Breece Hall becomes a free agent. That's the guy you want, and he gets to stay in New York, and he still gets to play at MetLife. That's all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen.
They love doing that. They did that with 𝐿aurence Cager, 𝐶J 𝐸_'s favorite player. They did that with Jason Pinnock. What's next?